7 News doesn't just bring you the news.
Even in death, Roger Rogerson faces further inquiries.
This is where news breaks.
It's been a bizarre crash at Sydney Airport.
Know your suburb.
A driver and her daughter were trapped.
Know Sydney. Know the news first on 7 News.
The former head of the consumer watchdog is demanding the government open an independent inquiry into supermarket price gouging. Woolies and Coles are adamant they've dropped meat prices, but experts say they're not doing enough. Tom Hartley has more.
Australia's biggest supermarkets say they're doing their bit to help everyone who's been hit by cost of living pressures. Most recently slashing the prices of dozens of red meat products by around 20%. The company's telling us that's an acknowledgement of the economic challenges faced by everyday people, but not everyone's convinced they're acting in the best interest of customers or suppliers.
The duopoly has got enormous bargaining power, both to their suppliers, like the farmers. They can hold down their prices, and to we consumers, because we've got very little choice.
That's Ellen Fells, an ex-ACCC boss who's been leading a union-commissioned inquiry into claims of supermarket price gouging. And what he has in his hands is a letter he wrote to the Treasurer this week. Among his findings, he notes a power imbalance allowing supermarkets to dictate terms and prices to farmers and leaving shoppers able to be pocketed.
It's urgent that they give the ACCC powers this week to do a comprehensive, in-depth investigation of supermarket prices and profits.
In a statement, the Treasurer told 7 News he's already in discussions with the ACCC, and if there's more that he can do, then he said, obviously he will.
Let's get a check of your finance now, and there was another improvement for the Australian share market. Here's Laura Bezarati from CommSec.
Good afternoon. That's certainly right. The Aussie market has extended its winning streak to a third straight session, lifting by roughly 0.5% today and closing in on a record high, now just 1.5% away. And of course, this does all come after the US share market hit another fresh record high in last night's session. Today, 8 of the 11 sectors improved. Our major banks did most of the heavy lifting for a second day, and notably, CBA's share price hit an all-time high today of just a touch below $116 during today's session. Miners also helped to boost our market, while healthcare stocks pushed higher, led by gains in CSL. But it was medical device company PolyNovo that ended as today's best performer for the second day in a row, after telling investors on Monday that its profits jumped by 66% over the past 6 months. PolyNovo is now trading at its highest level in around 10 months. There were some losers today, though. Karoon Energy fell after cutting its production guidance for the year, and IDP Education ended up as today's worst performer, and that was on the back of plans to limit student visas, which could impact the number of students seeking its services. Finally, the Aussie dollar currently buys 66 US cents. Have a lovely night.
Sydney's 6 p.m. news is coming up with Mark Ferguson. Mark, what's on the program?
Yeah, good afternoon, Angie. Plenty going on this afternoon, including more on Scott Morrison's decision to quit politics, confirming today he'll step down from his Sydney seat next month, what next for the former PM, and what it means for the people of Cook. Also tonight, the real story behind Anthony Albanese's changes to Stage 3 tax cuts and why he insists everyone will get more money in their pockets. A Russian hacker has been identified as the man behind the Medibank private data breach, stealing the personal details of 4 million Australians, what punishment he's facing. The Great Sydney Petrol Divide, why locals in some suburbs are paying much more at the pump. Test captain Pat Cummins weighs in to the Australia Day debate. Is the time right to change the date? And we'll be live on the red carpet as the stars arrive for the premiere of Dry 2. Angie, all that and plenty more. Sydney 7 News tonight at 6 o'clock.
See you soon. Thank you, Mark. Survivors of sexual violence are set to be offered better protections in the justice system. The federal government has asked the Law Reform Commission to begin a year-long inquiry. It's set to look into how the current system deals with sexual violence offences. It's estimated 1 in 5 women and girls over 15 will experience sexual violence, but only a small proportion report it to police. Pro-Palestinian activists have targeted the Australian Open, throwing leaflets onto Margaret Court Arena during a key moment in play. Fellow spectators were forced to intervene, dragging one woman away before security reacted. Emma O'Sullivan reports.
One woman's actions briefly interrupted play on Margaret Court Arena. It was around 6:30 last night. It was during the third set of the match between Alexander Zverev and Cameron Norrie. The leaflets read "Free Palestine" and "While you're watching the tennis, bombs are dropping on Gaza." It was two spectators who jumped to action, grabbing the protester, dragging her away.
When something like this happens, it shouldn't be another fan dragging the other person out, it should be the security guys.
Victoria Police say a small group of people spread leaflets at two courts and another location inside the grounds. They directed those protesters to leave, but say they won't face charges. The protest at the Port of Melbourne outside the Victoria International Container Terminal was brought to an end by police last night. More than 200 officers were in attendance at one stage, including the mounted branch. Legal observers say they have grave concerns about how capsicum spray was repeatedly deployed on those seeking medical attention. Police made 10 arrests, 9 for trespass, and one person was arrested accused of criminal damage. Police were back at Webdock this morning in large numbers to ensure the smooth passage of trucks in and out of the terminal.
Next in 7's afternoon news, I'll have your very latest weather forecast.
Good afternoon, I'm Georgia Elsley in the Freedom Traffic Chopper. Well, if you're travelling through Homebush, expect delays southbound with congestion along Centenary Drive past the Flemington Markets, leading all the way through to Arthur Street. We also have a build-up back onto Homebush Bay Drive as a result. Absolutely everything is on sale at Freedom. Huge savings on rugs, sofas, furniture, mattresses and homewares. Hurry, up to 60% off plus free delivery, ends Monday, only at Freedom.
In 7 News, a tax cut for everyone. Anthony Albanese's new promise. Former Prime Minister Scott Morrison quits. What now for his seat of Cook? The suburbs where Sydney drivers are getting gouged at the Bowser. Hundreds wiped off the cost of flights. And Pat Cummins weighs in on the Australia Day date debate. Details 7 News at 6 o'clock.
An unlikely friendship has formed at the Australian Reptile Park. Albert the koala and Wilbur the wombat have become inseparable BFFs. Under the careful watch of their keepers, the Joey duo do everything together. They eat, sleep and even cuddle. But the pair won't be together for long. Wilbur will eventually be released back into the wild and Albert will soon join the park's koala preschool. To the weather now, it has been grey across the metro region with a few light showers. Under those clouds, we reached a top of 26 degrees in the CBD. Again, cooler easterly winds pushed onto the coast. Mid-20s was the trend for most suburbs. Penrith the warmest at 28 degrees, Katoomba the coolest with 22. Taking a look at the satellite, a high-pressure system south of Tasmania extends a ridge along the coast. That ridge, combined with a slow-moving trough over South Australia, will cause northerly winds and heat to build once again this week. Meanwhile, the tropical low sitting off Townsville is expected to develop into a cyclone later tonight. Around the capitals tomorrow, warm and fine for Brisbane, 30 degrees. Heating up in Canberra too, 32 expected. Melbourne aiming for a settled 29. Adelaide, 31. Hot for Hobart standards too, with 25 and showers forecast. Perth, blue skies, 29. Unsettled and 31 degrees for Darwin. Sydney tomorrow, temperatures start to climb again. A top of 31 degrees expected. Lots of sunshine, so those clouds clear with light northerly winds. And that is just the warm-up for the rest of the week. Thursday is a hot one, 35 degrees in the CBD, 37 in our west. Similar conditions for the public holiday on Friday, 35 in the CBD, 39 in our west. A grey change follows and continues into that afternoon, but the weekend is looking much calmer. And that's Sydney's 4 p.m. news for this Tuesday. Mark Ferguson will bring you 7 News at 6. I'm Angie Asimus. Stay with 7 Now for The Chase Australia, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for your company.
Stream 7 News anytime, live and on demand on 7 Plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.